There we go. Welcome to Only Stupid Answers. Good morning. Hope you're doing well. Today we have a very special review for you. If you're Shazam.
Hey, yeah.
If you're watching live on Patreon, thank you. But if you're watching on YouTube, some people got this early, but we're also late on this review. So, hey, about evens out. So, yes, buckle up, kids, for a spoiler-free review of the brand new edition of Shazam to some sort of cinema. Because he did have a TV show in the 80s. He had 2 different TV shows.
I believe he also had the first superhero movie back in the 40s.
What a pro. He's the real MVP.
Yeah.
He's quite a champ. But, yes, we're talking about Shazam, the 2019 film, directed by David F Sandberg, written by Henry Gayden with screenplay. The story is by Henry Gayden and Darren Lemke. And, of course, Shazam was created by Bill Parker and C.C. Peck. And this stars Zachary Levi, Djimon Hounsou, Mark Strong, Dylan Grazer, and Asher Angel. And here's a quickie synopsis. We all have a superhero inside of us. It just takes a bit of magic to bring it out. In Billy Batson's case, by shouting out one word, Shazam. This streetwise 14-year-old foster kid can turn into the adult superhero Shazam. Now,
he's so streetwise.
Oh, he's so streetwise. He knows the ins and outs. He knows where to get the perfect Philly cheesesteak because this is in Philadelphia. He knows where that Rocky statue is. He knows where that is. Yeah. It's important.
Because he's streetwise.
He's streetwise. Street smarts. Street shark, street smarts. Now, this movie's coming out in the U.S. April 5th, 2019. But if you were lucky enough, Fandango did a big event. Yes. We could see it 2 weeks early. And that's what we did, baby boys. We went and saw that, baby boys and girls. And right now on Rotten Tomatoes, we are sitting at a current critic consensus of 93% with an average of 7.6 out of 10, which that is a pretty drastic difference.
They were bought off, weren't they?
Yes, they were. Yeah. They were swindled. That's everything. I thought 93% seemed a little too high personally, and then the average of 7.6 out of 10 felt a little too low. Honestly,
did you see? Yeah, right. Yeah. Did you see all the? Think pieces that are like DC finally got it. Shazam's the best DC movie. Oh, time out. Wonder Woman, everybody.
Wonder Woman. They said the same thing.
Aquaman.
They said the same thing. It's the same stuff.
We're still shocked. We're still shocked.
You guys see the Dark Knight? Oh my God, they finally got it.
Quickie. So early thoughts. Because we like to break these movies down and everything. But early thoughts. I found this movie. I think the perfect word that popped in my brain to describe it, and I think people would assume that this is a dig, and it 100% is not, is cute. This movie's very cute, and I mean that. We saw another movie that is cute and not the best way. This is cute and a good cute, and I very much enjoyed watching it.
If you guys follow David F Sandberg on Twitter, or if you don't, I suggest it, or on Instagram, he's very charming and he's very funny, and this movie is... You can, after following him on Twitter for a year, you can see his humor just in every corner of this movie, and I really enjoy it. Cute is a good way to say it, but also it's charming. The movie is very charming. It's there's something about this character that I've always found interesting, and he's never... DC has had him for the better part of 50 years, and there's never been there's been a few iconic stories, but there's not a lot of exploration of this character, and it's cool that now more audience get to be introduced to him. And the pitch that we've heard since this movie was announced is Big meets Superman. I just couldn't wait to see what that looked like on the big screen, and in some ways that is very extremely true. There are some specific nods to Big, which is really great, and some nods to Superman as well, which is amazing. But no, this movie is a ball of fun. We did an episode of our podcast, Only Stupid Answers, and we had Sam Humphries, who's the current writer of a new DC book called Dial H for Hero.
Yes. And
he mentioned that book. The quick pitch was, instead of a kid stealing their dad's hot rod, imagine if they got to steal something that turned them into Superman. And that's almost the same premise. It seems very similar to how Shazam's powers work and how these characters behave with those powers.
Yes.
Which is great. It's great to see. I love you sometimes see the kid getting too big for his britches and kind of needs to be humbled. But the entire journey of Billy Batson and Shazam in this movie is just so honest, and it feels true to a kid who might have too much. It's that kind of storyline where the oldest kid in a group of siblings has to kind of become the parent. That's kind of what you see happen with this character in this movie, and I enjoy it. There are, I'd say, just quick criticisms. We'll get into more specifics. I think that at some points I feel like the dialogue could be just tightened up a little bit. I think overall the story is something you've seen before, and you can trust it, but I feel like the dialogue at some points could be ratcheted up. And also there are some times when characters explain things one too many times,
Well,
and you're like, I don't understand. We got it.
let's you know what, we didn't discuss this before. Let's switch it up a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm going to start with my negative so we can work towards the positive.
Cool.
And the more specific negative is that the beginning is kind of clunky. It's kind of like it's laying all the pieces into place, and basically for me right before this happens, but the demarcation point is the second Zachary Levi shows up as Shazam, we're off to the races, and the movie's super entertaining. Getting there's a lot of like putting the pieces into place. I think that's a symptom of one of my broader issues with the movie, which actually reminded me a lot of like the mid-tier Marvel movies. This felt like the most like a Marvel movie in that it felt like there was a bunch of people in the room throwing ideas around, and if they made them laugh, it's in the movie. So there's not so much like a story. Like this isn't like the tightest story structure in moviedom. It's just everybody threw a bunch of ideas out there. The fun stuff stuck, and they just went from there. So it's not like you talk about the dialogue. It's not the tightest movie experience. It's not Black Panther. You know what I mean? Like or Wonder Woman. But once, for me, moving into the positive, once Zachary Levi shows up and all that handiwork pays off, and to me it was actually once. Wow, we can't do spoilers, but like once Billy meets the wizard and the wizard gives him the spiel that's specific for Billy, like, hey, you're basically it. Like, we got to go from here. I really enjoyed the movie.
I do too. That's a great way to put it, because in the beginning of the movie, it's cool how we get to explore the villain of this movie,
Yes.
Thaddeus Savannah, played by Mark Strong.
Yes.
Which, because in the comics, and not looking at New 52 for a second, what I just know of like pre-New 52 and even in the 40s, he's evil, like Powerpuff Girl villain. Like he seems
sniffly, like 3 feet tall,
hunched over.
Head is twice the size of his body,
and he's like 50 pounds. You know, he's like a chihuahua, but as a person. You know, it's like it doesn't feel like that much personality. And if Shazam's the answer to magic, Thaddeus tries to use science to take down the Shazam or the Shazam family.
Yeah.
And it just kind of
Shazamly.
it's just like aesthetically he's fun to have in a group of bad guys, but I don't care about that. I did like how he was utilized in the New 52, Jeff Johns and Gary Frank's run, where that's what most of this movie is.
100%.
Directly, like you can look at how they like copy paste a lot of stuff, which is great. It's a really good story, but I think in some ways the movie kind of like got lost a little bit, but also builds out some of the ideas that story has, and I think it improves upon. Basically, the best part that this movie got right was the reason why Billy becomes Shazam compared to the comic, in my opinion.
I like that too, and I like Mark Strong as Savannah, and without spoiling anything, the other villains that he works with are amazing.
Yeah, the
really
other
cool.
antagonists.
Yeah.
The CGI in this movie is very impressive, and you're gonna have a blast seeing a lot of the like classic like staples or cornerstones of Shazam's like lore coming to life. It's really cool.
They God bless the age we live in, because they do some shout outs to some obscure and weird, because weirdly Shazam is one of the most dated superhero like he was more popular than Superman when he was being published back in the day in
the 40s.
Yeah, with Charlton Comics and everything. But a lot of his villains and stuff are very much of that era, and we get some very specific shout outs to some of that stuff, which made me super happy.
Did you know them, or are you just kind of like vaguely aware?
One, yes. One I was like, hell yeah. The other one is like, I recommend, as great as Jeff Johns and Gary Frank's run with Shazam is, I actually recommend Jeff Smith, who created Bone, did a run with Shazam.
Really?
That's actually really good.
Is it like a contained story?
Yes.
Does it have like the life of Captain Marvel or
no,
something like that?
it does have I think
I'm getting something confused.
But anyway, it shows some of the weirder characters, and some of those characters end up in here, and it's great that we live in a time that like even 10 years ago they wouldn't have even. They were just throwing those characters on the rug and pretend they didn't exist. And now they're getting shout outs and they're building that stuff out. But this movie has a sense of fun that actually reminded me a lot of Deadpool, without being as in your face about the way it deconstructed things. There's one specific joke during the final battle between Savannah and Shazam that I thought was really smart and really like incisive to like, wait, that wouldn't work.
Yeah.
As cool as it is in those movies, like, wait, that wouldn't happen. You know what I mean?
No, there's a lot of moments there's genuine laughs in this movie, which I really appreciate. There are definitely some swings at the fences, and they kind of whiff it, but that's okay because I think it's pretty balanced in like what you're gonna get, and in those moments you're still able to get some cool character, like growth. You're able to get some growth for at least Billy, played by Asher Angel, and Zachary Levi when he's the adult version of him. I did want to say that the fun of being a superhero is just so present in this. Like in Aquaman, there's no like, it's not really an explore. You explore what he can do, but it's more about let's learn his world. Let's see how he fits into the grand puzzle. And for the people that really enjoyed that movie, I think that worked for them. I didn't hate that movie. I'm just saying I enjoyed it a lot. I didn't. I was more like lukewarm on it. Hey, movie water. But with this movie, it just was such a cool celebration of like, what if you had fun with these powers? Like,
well, and I think it's the biggest, it's the most direct distillation of the appeal of superheroes, because every kid, no matter whether it's Spider-Man or Superman or Captain America, you're like, what if I was the? And this is like literally a kid is that. Like, it's not. There's you're right there. You know what I mean? This is the appeal of superheroes distilled to its purest essence. You know.
And David F Sandberg, I think, did a very good job capturing those aspects. Also, shout out because he has done 2 horror films before this and a short that really got his name out there.
Lights Out, Annabelle Creation.
And I'll just say that there are some aspects of those movies and the way that he directs that are present in this one, and those scenes are terrifying. They are genuinely they gave me a gasp.
Of the superhero movies we've seen recently, this felt like the one most directly targeted at kids, and I think it did a good job of engaging with darker or edgier material, even with like, I'm a superhero, I can get beer now, like edgy in that sense, while being able to pull back and still be family friendly. You know what I mean? I thought it balanced that really well. Something I was worried about going in is we introduced the Shazamly, the orphans that Billy is adopted with, and normally you put a bunch of little kids in there and they're supposed to be cute and it's super annoying. They're not. They're actually legitimately cute. Darla is amazing. Darla is my favorite character in the movie. Darla is not the MVP. I would actually say Jack Dylan Grazer.
Oh, as Freddy,
as Freddy, because he's the clearest through line. Because even though you've got Asher Angel and Zachary Levi playing Billy, it's like Freddy he's there, he's the constant, and so it's like I don't know if the movie works without him.
Agreed. And I think just behind him, I agree that Darla is like she's the heart. She's like, you understand, like it's just kind of a wake up call sometimes with Billy and his like attitude early on in the movie. It's like, hey man, calm down. I know you're going through stuff, but also so are all of these kids. So maybe chill out. And I 100% agree. Mary, Eugene, Pedro, they're all, it's just such a great dynamic. And I have to also applaud his foster parents in the beginning of the movie. And specifically the dad, he's got like a warmth to him. And it's so cool how this movie, sometimes in other movies, they try to show adoptive parents or foster parents in this way that's like super like, you know, we are a family. But in this, it's like, hey, we were foster kids. We know like that you aren't going to 100% trust us, but it's like, that's okay. You just take your time. And it's like, that's so cool. It's so understanding and it's so welcoming and it's so sweet. And the movie, like you say, Jack Dylan Grazer is like kind of like he's a through line. The movie doesn't work without him. And also the family as a whole is what makes this movie so interesting and what makes Billy so interesting as well, and why you root for him to kind of like grow as a character. Because it's like, hey, I know you've gone through some stuff, but your family is amazing. So maybe chill. But also the aspects of magic are really fun. There's a lot of teases to the future for these movies, and I would recommend sitting throughout like the credits. There's a post-credit scene that's worth watching, the credits itself are very cool.
The credits are made, the design for the credits is great, but we like to answer this question because everybody going is like, oh, the post-credit scenes. It's a superhero movie, of course there's 2. There's a mid-credit scene and a post-credit scene.
Which is
the
great.
Mid-credit scene meant more to me than the post one, but the post one was fun.
So being people who analyze like the superhero news, or people constantly send us stuff, that's great. but we do sometimes see things ahead of time that are rumors. So like one of them, like it just confirmed it. But for people who I was with who knew nothing, it was such a wonderful surprise for them, and it made me enjoy it more. So you're gonna enjoy it as well. So so kind of boiling down, revisiting again the positives, Zachary Levi, and I think and with that I'd also add Jack Dylan Grazer's Freddy. But also positive is the CGI and the way that magic was brought to life. It's such a fun, like, this is so cool. Like, throw Justice League against these guys because I honestly don't know how you'd fare. But negatives, like, I feel like if you just did like one more pass on the dialogue, like in the early, or like mainly the first act-ish, half of the first act, you could really tighten up this movie and make it like not perfect, but just like really, really good. But the movie is still extremely enjoyable. So I know my score, but what would you say?
Wait, so we like to do these scores with fun ones. How many people did the Wizard take before?
Oh, I have no idea.
Was it like, didn't they say like 56 or something like that?
Oh, let's go with 52, man.
Okay,
we
gotta do
52. It's DC, man. So out of 52, civilians yanked out of their homes or houses or whatnot. What would you give this?
Element. Out of 52, I would give this you know what? I'd give it a B+. I really enjoyed it. So I would give it, that's a 45.
Oh.
Is that how that works?
I think that seems a little too low. 50 out of 52. 40, go a little higher. Go a little no. 46.
But see, when you like a 10, it would be 8.
Oh, see, this is when the comments are going to get focused on us. We don't know math.
Out of 52?
I give it an A-. But like, I think we're like 2 points away from each other. It sounds more drastic. We're very close into it. I think I just, I don't know. I was just more forgiving on like the kind of, not dumb, but just kind of, it felt like just sloppier beginnings. But I still found enjoyment. But it really clicks in when Zachary Levi's there. And it's so great just seeing these characters have fun, and I don't need all my superhero movies to just be like them having fun, which this movie isn't. But the aspects that are just like pure enjoyment, it's like, this is a big aspect of why we like these characters.
A majority of this movie isn't him fighting bad guys; it's him learning about his abilities and stuff like that, and just kind of like goofing around. Which, like if you were a 14-year-old that got these powers. I mean, you might, but most of them wouldn't immediately like, I'm gonna go find a bad guy. Like you just goof around. The scene I think my favorite scene in the movie is in the gas station.
Gas station's amazing.
That whole sequence is a lot of fun. Like, anyway, it's a fun movie, and something I really enjoy is that this movie, and I've talked about it before, this movie feels completely different from Aquaman, which feels completely different from Wonder Woman. And I like that there's just kind of this sense of like, hey, you do it, just go do it. Just go do it, and don't mess it up, and maybe let's not have it be as dark and edgy as before. Maybe those are the 2 rules.
People in the chat who are watching live on Patreon, shout out. They did say 46 was a B+, so there you go. 48's an A-, so I'll be a 48 out of 52. Classic math. And also we're getting about the same B+. That's where everyone's kind of sitting on this movie, but it seems like they overall really enjoyed it, and I'm really glad that you guys enjoyed this. But also let us know in our Discord, which you can join by going to patreon.com/onlystupidanswers for low as $5 a month, and also a bunch of new goodies are going to be there very soon, so don't miss out. My name is Sammy. You can find me at Sam Bashor everywhere that matters. You
can find me at DJ Talks Trash.
Or at Only Stupid Answers.
Take out the vowels from stupid.
There we go. OnlyStupidAnswers.com for everything else you'd ever need. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye-bye.